Hello everyone, my name is UltimoFive, and today we're going over the Strun Prime, the Concussive Shredder. Strun Prime is a Prime version of Strun, and it was released alongside Magnus Prime and Nidus Prime. In order to obtain the Strun Prime, one must open a variety of relics that contain the blueprint, receiver, barrel, and stock in order to make it at the foundry. Requires a mastery rank of 14, comes with 2 V and a dash polarity slot, plus a V auxilia slot. Because of this, the builds on this weapon will require 3 Forma. And the Strun Prime excels in close and medium range combat, dealing with high leveled enemies of all factions against single targets and small crowds. The Strun Prime has a lot of buffs when compared to the original Strun. These stats would be higher base damage, higher critical chance, higher critical multiplier, higher base status chance, better linear damage distance fall off, higher fire rate, a larger magazine capacity, and the only nerf was to the weapon's reload speed. Advantages for the weapon would be that it has a high critical chance, an innate multi-shot, high ammo reserves, an innate 0.8 meter punch through, far linear damage fall off, and the reload can be cancelled after a shell is loaded. Disadvantages, however, for the weapon would be that it has a low base damage, low status chance, and a slow reload speed. The elements for the Strun Prime against the Corpus will be Radiation Toxin. Radiation causes enemies to attack each other while dealing 100% additional damage to the allied for 12 seconds, which can stack up to 10 times up to 550%. Meanwhile, Toxin deals 50% base damage per second over 6 seconds, and stacks indefinitely with each instance having its own timer. The build's flex law is Toxic Barrage, and even though Toxin would be removed from the build, it still works very well, even into the Steel Path. Radiation is mainly on the build to assist against Corpus enemies that have alloy armor, or against robotic enemies, but can easily deal with the human Corpus enemies as well. The element for the Strun Prime against a corrupting Grineer will be Viral. Viral amplifies health damage by 100% for 6 seconds and stacks up to 10 times for a total of 325%. The build's flex slots are Hunter Munitions or Galvanized Savvy if one has a Riven with damage. The flex slot was a bit hard to decide on due to all the important mods needed to make this weapon very effective in the late game, but it still works fantastic. The elements for the Strun Prime against the Infested will be Gas or Viral Heat. Gas deals 50% base damage per second for 6 seconds in a 3 meter radius and stacks up to 10 times to a total of 6 meters. The build's flex slot is Scattering Inferno in the Gas build and Blaze in the Viral Heat build, and honestly, I love the Gas a lot more. This is one of those times that Viral Heat can be better, but it really needs to hit the enemy weak points, which is why Gas is much better in my opinion, but if a player doesn't like using Gas, then Viral Heat can work instead. Galvanized Acceleration in place of Fatal Acceleration in a majority of the builds. This will cost 1 to 2 more Forma in order to have, but can really help with the weapon's already great linear damage fall off. Hell's Chamber in place of Galvanized Hell if one doesn't have access to the mod through arbitration or doesn't have it. Primed Point Blank in place of Galvanized Savvy if one doesn't have access to the mod through arbitration or doesn't want to use it. This is mainly due to the reason that even in lower level Steel Path, one can still deal with all enemies without the use of Galvanized Savvy. Ravage and Cleanse mods in place of their primed counterparts if one doesn't have them. Blunderbuss or Laser Sight in place of Critical Deceleration if one would prefer to not lose any fire rate at the sacrifice of decreased critical chance. And Laser Sight in place of the build's Cleanse faction mod if one doesn't like using faction mods. If Laser Sight has already been switched in, then the next best mod would be Shrapnel Shot. There are several ways to enhance critical stats and damage for this weapon. For instance, for damage, Rhino's Roar, Nova's Molecular Prime, which makes all sources of damage increase by 100% against primed enemies. Mirage's Eclipse mixed with her Hall of Mirrors as a massive damage bonus during the day or in light. Saren's Toxic Lash mixed with her Spores abilities. Equinox's Rest and Rage in Dayform makes targets more vulnerable to damage. Banshee's Sonar, which gives a huge damage multiplier. And Chroma's Vex Armor, when health gets damage, increases weapon damage. For critical stats, Harl's Covenant can add up to 50% critical chance and 200% on headshots. Volt's Electric Shield when shot through adds a 200% critical damage multiplier. Nidus's Virulence with his teaming Virulence augmentation grants a large increase to critical chance upon hitting 4 enemies. Zephyr's passive increases critical chance by 150% while airborne. Theodar's Kavat with Cat's Eye can give a 60% critical chance boost. And Samita Kavat with Charm can give a 200% crit chance. Arcane Rage. Upon getting a headshot, 15% chance for 180% damage of primary weapons for 24 seconds. Arcane Primary Charger. On melee kill, 30% chance for 300% damage of primary weapons for 12 seconds. Arcane Avenger. Upon being damaged, 21% chance for 45% critical chance for 12 seconds. Arcane Arachne. Upon wall latch, 150% damage for 30 seconds. And Primary Merciless. On primary weapon kill, 30% primary damage for 4 seconds, which stacks up to 12 times and includes a 30% reload speed buff and 100% additional max ammo. When you get your hands on a Riven for this weapon, the flex slot to replace will be what was previously discussed before. This may require 1 to 2 more Forma, and in order to maximize damage output with the Strun Prime, one will need to get lucky and get some nice stats. My ideal stats would be critical chance, critical damage, and negative weapon recoil. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more guides on Warframe, please click the like and sub buttons to let me know. And as per usual, I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.